also break down the mark distribution between every question. Okay, so we have finding angle B, which is this one. So this being an SSS scenario tells us that we have to use cosine law. That's the only option here. So if you identify it as being cosine law, you get 1 mark already, just for using cosine law. So in this case, you have to use. We're trying to find angle B, so we have to plug in side B and make sure we subtract it at the end, and then we take the other two and simply square and add, right? So that's the top, and then the bottom is just making sure you grab these two sides again, and so you get negative 12.25 in the numerator and 138.24 in the denominator. Okay, so cosine of B would be negative 0.0886, and that keeps going. Okay, so angle B is cosine inverse of that. So angle B is 95.08 degrees. So again, 1 mark for cosine law if you used it correctly, 1 mark for the work that was associated with it, and another mark for the final answer. Okay. If you missed the negative, if you dropped the negative and you did not get an obtuse angle, I would take a full mark off. Okay, so you only get 2 out of 3 if you use cosine law and you did everything else right. 2 out of 3 there. And what I've noticed is some students, they use, Ryvan, could you turn off the lights up front here? Thank you. What I noticed that some of you on your study sheet, you only have the cosine A formula, right? And so you think you always have to solve for angle A. Don't focus so much on that. Focus more on the pattern. That's why I use those highlighters when I give you the formula. So, right, like if you're trying to find angle B, then the side B should be across from it. That's a pattern with sine law and cosine law, right? That things are opposite each other. So that's what you get there. Next, we have finding side A here. And you have an angle, another angle, and the side. So this is actually what I call the hidden pair. It's not quite obvious that it is a pair, but you can find angle B. So sorry, I have to use sine law, right? It's just a note that I make to myself. So angle B is 180 minus 98.6 minus 51.8. So angle B is 29.6 degrees. You get a mark. You get a mark just for doing that. Okay. Next, so now we have a pair. So sine of 29.6 over 86.9 is equal to, and they're asking me to solve for side A, which is going to be located across angle A. So that means that I have to use sine of 98.6 degrees over side A. That's how you have to proceed there. I will do the mark breakdown in a bit. Right, so it's 86.9 sine of 98.6 over sine of 29.6. So side A is 173.95 meters. I don't know if you read at the very top, it says that everything is in meters at the beginning of the AC. So take off 1/2 mark just once if you're missing your units, and then we'll leave it after. Okay, so 1 mark for the angle. You get 1 mark for using sine law, right? If you use sine law, you get 1 mark. The work is 1 mark, and the final answer is another mark. So 4 marks total. Sine law, using if you use sine law, you get a mark. So you potentially can get 2 out of 4 here if you found that angle and use sine law. Okay? If you use the 51.8, you would not get the final answer mark. You would probably get 3 out of 4. Yeah, you would get 3 out of 4 because you're still using sine law and you're doing consistent work. You're just not getting the right answer. Regardless, you lose a full mark. Find side C, then angle A. So I'm actually walking you through, won't always be the case, okay? So side C would be over here. That's going to be our first step. So this is a side angle side. You have to use cosine law. And in this particular case, it's this one, right? C squared, the side you want, is equal to 5728.6 squared plus 4513.7 squared minus 2 times 5728.6 times 50. So these are just big numbers, right? But that shouldn't affect cosine of 73.6. C is equal to square root of, when you type all of that in, you get 38,589,236.88. And that gives you 6212.02 meters. So I would do maximum 1 mark for the whole thing. Deduction. So keep telling that you forgot the units, but you only deduct 1 full mark for the whole AC. Normally I take off half a mark every time it happens, but today we're just going to let it go. I think you'll get the message, right? So hold on, 3 marks there, okay? You get 1 mark for cosine law, another mark for the work, and another mark for finding C. Now we have to find angle A now. That's another task. I have a pair, so I'm going to use this pair. So sine of 73.6 degrees over 6212.02. And I want, guys, no talking now, okay? Not while I'm talking. So cross multiply and divide. You get sine of A is equal to 4,513.7 times sine of 73.6 divided by 6212.02. Angle A is sine inverse of 0. When you type all of that in, you get 0.6970 dot dot dot. Angle A is 44.19 degrees. You should get the same answer if you use cosine law. You could have used cosine law, right? Because now you have all 3 sides. Use cosine law? That's okay. You got the same answer, right? Yeah. Yeah, you should get the same answer. Okay, 1 mark for the setup, because it could be cosine law, sine law, whatever you did. Another mark for the work, and another mark for the final answer. So that's where the 6 marks for this question comes from. So this page is out of 13, if you want to tally. We're good? Backside. A question like this walks you through it. So first, let's find length of A, then we're going to find length of X. So what you need to do here is essentially forget about that second triangle. Let's step back, 1 step back, hold on, like this. if you have two triangles, you should always start with the one that has the most information, right? If you look at this triangle here, only has side and that angle, that's it. But if you look at the other one, you have two angles and a side. So even though I didn't tell you to go in this order, I would say you should know, start with the one with most information, right? So we'll do that one. I have a pair, so I'm going to use sine law. So sine of 45 over 10 is equal to sine of 60. No, sorry. What am I doing here? No, sorry. I got it now. I got it. Sorry, I was sidetracked. I need to find angle A, right, to find side A. So I'm going to do that here. Before I do this, that's how your brain should work too, right? You should catch yourself. 180 minus 60 minus 45, that is 75. You get 1 mark for that. 1 mark for having that 75 there. So it's sine of 75 over side A, which is what we want. I will spare the details here. So A is a bunch of work, and that gets you 13.66 meters. So 1 mark for sine law, another mark for the work, and another mark for the 1366. Now we shift over to that second triangle here. We know that this is 1366, so it's side angle side to find that one. On the second triangle, it's side angle side, so cosine. That's the only way to tackle that one. So x squared is going to be 15 squared plus 1366 squared minus 2 times 15 times 1366 times cosine of 70, right? Square root 271.4357. So we get 1648 there. 1 mark for cosine law, 1 mark for work, and 1 mark for the final answer there. If you, listen carefully, if you got this wrong, the 1366, and you're using it for that second step, you would get 3 full marks if you did this all correct, right? Like I would only take marks off here once, and then if you do all of this right, your answer will be different, but I would still give you 3 marks there on a test because you know what you're doing. It's just you carry that mistake with you, right? Next, partially filled triangle. Get used to that, especially for tomorrow, okay? This one is pretty straightforward. They tell you that the distance between B and C is 580, and the distance between A to C is 337. The reason why I gave you one of these is because you have an obtuse angle, which presents a challenge if you like using your calculator. So it's SAS nonetheless, right? And they want this distance here across the pond, which is really side C. But I'm going to just give it a little twist here. I can call side C side AB as well. Don't let that throw you off. But it's 580 squared plus 337 squared minus 2 times 580 times 337. Cos of 105. AB is square root of 551, 146, 5411. Side AB is 742.39 meters. You get 1 mark for finding out that it's cosine law, 1 mark for the work, and 1 mark for the final correct answer. Yeah, I'll be right there. Let me just I'm just going to clarify one more time why this is a special case. Watch on the screen, okay? Cosine of 105 is what? What is it going to be, positive or negative? It's going to be negative. So you can almost put a negative in front. This negative and that negative turn into a positive. Oops, sorry, you can see that. Okay. This negative and that. So really, if you're doing this in steps, you have to go this squared plus this squared plus all of this. Depending on how you type it in. If you type it in one shot, you don't have to worry about it. It's gonna take care. It's all gonna be taken care of for you. So you just have to watch out for that. Okay, total out of 23. This page is 10 on its own, right? This is back page. So 13 and 10, that's 23. So add it up. Make sure your name is on there. $23. Get your booklets out. Okay. Go to page 272, please. Wait. Okay. Please go to page 272 in your booklets. Specifically the bottom half, like this question right here. 1 second, Laura, just gonna give some instructions. And there's also two that have, so that might go one and one for a bit. I'm just gonna give you a bunch of questions to try, but I want you to start with this. Because tomorrow's quiz is gonna, you need to remember the height, finding the height of something. You might have to cut it out. And there's a 90 here, right? And this corner, it's not in the picture. But I want you to try something like this right now. In addition to that, I'll put the page numbers on that I think you should all do before tomorrow. And for sure before the test. Okay? So I will give you the answers a bit later, or maybe even tomorrow. I'll see how you do with work, and then we'll continue this right till the end of class today. Okay? If you need help, just do it yourself. Okay? I will come by. I will answer questions if you have any. I just don't want it to be too loud. Okay? Because we need to focus on this. could you please write this down somewhere at the top of that page that tells you work on this so you don't forget? These pages, so it's a mix between sine law and cosine law. Okay? Laura, you can go ahead. After you can, Ryan, sorry. Ryan, you can go ahead. And Jared, just wait for him to come back and you wait for him to come back. Okay? Okay. Hold the way calculators out. Let's go and work, okay? Wait for Yuri. Yuri. Because Gino asked too, right? No. Gyro did. Gyro asked. Okay. Update your study sheet. If you don't know how to do a height question, go back in your notes. We did one. Okay. Oh. Thank you.